We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Brunei to hold delegation-level talks, sign agreements, will leave for Singapore on the second leg of his two-nation visit. Major government shake-up in Ukraine. 4 cabinet ministers and arms chief resign. Russia steps up attacks in central Ukraine, killing at least 51. US files terrorism charges against 6 senior Hamas leaders, including the group's chief, Yahya Sinwar, accused them of orchestrating the October 7th attack. And in sports, at 20, India achieves highest ever medal haul in Paralympics. Para contingent display phenomenal performance on day 6. Well, on to the details now. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Brunei, Darussalam, a Southeast Asian country, on a 2-day visit. Action-packed day 2 will witness him meeting Brunei's top leadership, besides signing an exchange of MOUs. Here's what to expect from the final day of his visit to Brunei, Darussalam.
A day after inaugurating the new Chancery building of the Indian High Commission and visiting the iconic Sultan Omar Ali Saifuddin Mosque, named after the father of the current monarch of Brunei, Darussalam, Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold talks with Sultan Haji on Wednesday. Prime Minister Modi will meet Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah and his close family members at the Royal Palace, Istana Nurul Imam, which is the official residence of the Sultan of Brunei. Both sides will also hold delegation-level talks, engage in all existing areas of cooperation, and also explore avenues for cooperation in newer sectors. Both the leaders have met on a number of occasions. They first met on the sidelines of the 25th ASEAN Summit in Naypyidaw in November 2014, and then on the sidelines of the East Asia Summit in November 2017 in Manila. They met virtually in 2021 for the 18th India-ASEAN Summit. In January 2018, they met in New Delhi on the occasion of the Silver Jubilee of the ASEAN-India Dialogue Partnership. Sultan Haji was among the heads of state and government who witnessed India's Republic Day parade. The relationship between India and Brunei has steadily evolved, with defense cooperation being a key component. The exchange of naval visits and the participation of Bruneian nationals in various capacity-building courses in India underscore the growing defense and educational ties between the two countries. The trade relationship is important, especially in the context of India's energy security, given that a bulk of India's imports are of hydrocarbon from Brunei Darussalam, which is rich in oil and gas reserves. Both sides also cooperate in space and health sectors and promote people-to-people exchanges. The presence of a vibrant Indian diaspora in Brunei, particularly in the oil and gas industries, construction and healthcare sectors, further strengthens the bilateral relationship. Ties between the two countries are important even from a regional perspective. Brunei Darussalam was the country coordinator for India in ASEAN for 3 years, from July 2012 to June 2015, and played an important role in bringing India closer to ASEAN. All these aspects are expected to figure in the talks between the leadership of both countries on the final day. All in all, Prime Minister Modi's visit to Brunei has added dynamism to India-Brunei ties and is expected to reinforce India's strategic footprint in Southeast Asia, fostering greater cooperation in key areas and paving the way for a more integrated and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. With cameraman Kumar Datta, Munmun Bhattacharya's report, Brunei Darussalam, DD India.
And for more, we have Munmun Bhattacharya joining us from Brunei. Well, Munmun, day 2 today, there has to be a sign and exchange of various agreements. And as the PM said, the focus will be on further deepening India's ties with Brunei. What all is lined up?
Yes, Lipakshi. So today is the day of the bilateral meeting between the leadership of both the countries, Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah as well as Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This meeting is going to take place at the Royal Palace, which is called Istana Nurul Imam. And this is a combination of two words. Istana is a Malay word, and Nurul Iman is an Arabic word. It means the palace of the light of faith. And this is, in fact, the largest residence that is there in the world of any royal family or of the head of state. It is many times bigger than the Buckingham Palace and the Palace of Versailles, and it's made it to the Guinness Book of World Records also for being the largest royal residence in the world. Now, having said that, the focus, of course, is on diplomacy and substance today, and we expect a couple of MOUs to be signed, and there is expected to be forward movement on a number of sectors. For instance, defense sector is one. We know that there is a growing mutual understanding and strategic trust in the sector between both the sides. You know, I've been talking about how there have been reciprocal naval and coast guard visits of ships to each other's shores, starting at least 2006, and you know it's happened as late as 2024 as well. So in that context, also we expect some forward movement. Remains to be seen whether there will be an announcement of a joint working group there, and we know that there is already an MOU in the defense sector. It was signed in 2016, then renewed for 5 years in 2021. So there is cooperation in the defense sphere. There's participation in defense exhibitions and expositions in defense courses, both online and physical. There's capacity building, there's training. There is joint exercises also. For instance, I'll tell you that in May 2023, India co-hosted the inaugural India-ASEAN Maritime Exercise. Now, in that, 7 countries participated. As I said, India was the co-host. Brunei Darussalam was also one of the members. So there is growing cooperation on the seas. And what happens in these exchange of naval visits is that the best practices are exchanged by both the sides. If there's scope of training, that happens too. There's focus on interoperability. So there's basically a focus on maritime safety, security, on Sagar, which is India's vision of security and growth for all in the region, and on the security of the entire Indo-Pacific region. Now, that is about defense and the strategic importance of the talks. Going forward, there is also focus on trade ties. Trade volume for the last decade or so was around $500 million, but it has come down in recent years. For instance, in the last financial year, it was $290 million. But out of that, bulk of it was hydrocarbons to the tune of $270 million. Now, India wants to have a long-term supply contract for supply of natural gas, particularly from Brunei Darussalam to India, considering that it knows that the demand for natural gas like LNG is expected to grow in India. So India is interested in that sphere. Remains to be seen what position Brunei Darussalam will take on this. If we move forward and if we look at other sectors, then there is, of course, people-to-people ties. There's already an announcement that was made of a direct flight connectivity starting the 5th of November, twice a week, from the capital of Brunei Darussalam, which is the Bandar Seri Begawan, to Chennai. And earlier there was a direct flight, but that was suspended after 9/11, so that connected the capital with Kolkata. But now the direct flight connectivity is expected to resume. We haven't had one for the last 20 years. And of course, the focus would continue to be on Asia Pacific as well.
All right, Munmun, thank you so much for all that update from there. And moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Singapore on 4th of September as part of his 2-nation tour. The ASEAN nation has been a traditional ally of India and the highest source of FDI in India. The 5th state visit by the Prime Minister is likely to strengthen the economic and cultural ties between the two countries. Akshay Dongre reports for more.
After his first ever state visit to Brunei, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Singapore on the 4th of September after a gap of 6 years. This is Prime Minister Modi's 5th visit to Singapore after he assumed office and has enthused the Indian diaspora across the East Asian country.
Our foreign policies are improved. That's what I can see, I can feel. People are, other people talking about our country. So I think a lot of positive things are happening. And I'm excited as PM is coming here. And surely all Indians will celebrate and will welcome him.
The visit to Singapore is significant as this is PM Modi's first visit after assuming a 3rd historic term, along with Lawrence Wong assuming the charge of Prime Minister of Singapore this year in the month of May. The bilateral visit is likely to deepen relations between the two nations.
It's a very important and a historic visit. It's Prime Minister's fifth visit, as you rightly mentioned. Now, a visit very early on in his third term is really, really historic because Prime Minister Lawrence Wong also has taken office in May, and a meeting between two prime ministers very early on in their respective tenures will set the course for our bilateral relationship in the next decade or so.
India and Singapore have been traditional allies with shared heritage, history and cultural ties, along with deep economic relations. The impetus given by the Modi government has significantly improved the bond between the two nations. Besides cultural ties, the visit by Prime Minister Modi will focus on futuristic cooperation in areas including digitalization, sustainability, skills, health, connectivity and advanced manufacturing. These include semiconductors and aviation technology. Taken all together, these are likely to give a boost to economic cooperation between the two nations.
Certainly, Singapore having a small percentage of Indian and Indian origin people, they make culturally much more share of the noise of Singapore because there's so much of activity that happens which draws a lot of people. And we talk about culture, it's not only classical arts, it is non-classical arts, even the Bollywood, even yoga, even Indian Ayurveda, and all forms of Indian culture. Food is a very big part of it.
Indian community is one of the largest and perhaps most important communities of Singapore that has left a permanent mark on the culture of the country. As you can see everywhere, there will always be something that reminds you of India, of Indian heritage that you will find in the country. And while there has always been close cultural and historic ties between the two countries, now amid the changing geopolitical scenario, there is an increasing closer strategic relation between the two countries as well. And to nurture and to strengthen this relationship, Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India is visiting Singapore, where the two countries will aim at significantly enhancing the close ties that the two countries share at this moment. With camera person SP Dubey in Singapore, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
And with India and Singapore being trade partners and collaborative partners in various fields, education is also one such field. DD India's correspondent Akshay Dongre spoke to the co-founder and chairperson of Global Schools Foundation, Atul Tarmurikar, on various aspects. Listen in.
India and Singapore are both major trade partners in several fields. Both the countries are collaborating in different aspects of business and trade, and education is turning up to be one of the most important sectors as far as the collaboration between the two countries are concerned. We are right now at Global Schools Foundation, and we have with us the co-founder and chairperson of the Global School Foundation, Mr. Atul Tarmurikar. Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting Singapore. Both the countries are major trade partners as well, and education, as I just said, that it's emerging to be one of the most important sector of collaboration. So how are you seeing the developments that are taking place?
Singapore and India have had a very, very good cultural ties all through the last 5-7 decades. We've also seen the SICA agreements coming in place, and the effects of that in terms of positive outcomes in FDI has been noticed. I think this is probably the best time for accelerating the investments on both sides. Singapore has been making investments in technology side, in technology parks, in investing in large financial institutions and various other sectors. And India has been likewise making investments into Singapore and also through Singapore into various gateways into Asia as well as Europe. One is the Make in India program is likely going to be seeing a major attraction from foreign investors. And I think Prime Minister Modi is coming here and interacting with several industry CEOs who are potential investors into India will give them a lot of comfort, because when it comes from the leadership, it's going to be bringing in a lot of comfort in terms of, okay, there's somebody we are going to look towards.
Sir, as far as the collaboration between the two countries are concerned, what areas do you see as potential to expect a boost as far as the growing ties between the two countries are concerned?
Sure. I think I would say human skills is one very, very big sector. Singapore has the ecosystem in several industries, and Singapore needs great manpower to access to it, not necessarily in Singapore, but access to the manpower in India. And I think India has that. India has been able to achieve great achievements in the area of skills development. NSDA has been doing very, very good progress in that area.
And my last question would be about the arrival of the Prime Minister that's going to take place. What do you see around Singapore as far as the excitement is concerned, especially among the Indian diaspora here?
Looking at the the sentiments that we have between the two countries, between G to G, between people to people, this visit is going to be very, very enormously seen by everyone, both in the importance of the trade side of it, but also in the people to people relations.
Thank you so much, sir. So that was the co-founder and chairperson of the Global Schools Foundation. And clearly, Singapore has the technology, India has the manpower and skilled labor as well. People who can, in fact, come together, both the countries can come together and realize the dream of even closer ties and better relations between the two countries. With camera person SP Dubey, I'm Akshay Dongre, Lead India.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. India's West Bengal Health Department on Tuesday suspended Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, the former principal of RG Kar Medical College and Hospital. The suspension followed his arrest in connection with alleged financial irregularities at the institution. Ghosh and 3 others were remanded to Central Bureau of Investigation custody till 10th of September. The Indian Meteorological Department forecasted extremely heavy rainfall over Gujarat state till September 7th. The state has been given a red alert, with Saurashtra and Kutch set to receive very to very heavy rainfall. The state is already battling massive flooding triggered by incessant rains. Several rivers and reservoirs are overflowing as water levels have crossed the danger mark. India's Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu visited the flood-affected areas and reviewed the supply of food and water for the victims. Andhra Pradesh is likely to experience another wet spell as a fresh low pressure is predicted to form over the Bay of Bengal by September 5th. The weather officials have predicted thunderstorms and strong winds in various districts of the state. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. In Nigeria, an attack by suspected Boko Haram Islamist killed many people, with several missing. PM Modi held a telephonic conversation with the Para medal winners. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, amid the conflict, there were few high-profile resignations in Ukraine, including country's army chief and deputy chief of staff. Its deputy prime minister has also resigned in a major government shake-up at a critical juncture in the conflict with Russia. Resignations are dubbed as part of a restructuring of the government. While Minister in charge of weapons production resigned on Tuesday in anticipation of another defense role, the resignations of Strategic Industries Minister Alexander Kamyshin, Deputy Prime Minister Ola Stefanishyna, and the Justice, Environment and Reintegration Ministers leaves over a third of the cabinet vacant after sackings earlier this year. While Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky dismissed his Deputy Chief of Staff Rostislav Sharma, Parliament Speaker Ruslan Stefanchuk said after weeks of talks of a looming government shake-up, lawmakers would review resignation requests. Zelensky had said that the changes were being undertaken to ensure Ukraine had the strengthened government it needed.
Autumn will be extremely important for Ukraine. Our state institutions must be organized in a way that ensures Ukraine achieves all the results we need, all of us. To this end, we must strengthen certain areas within the government, and the personal decisions have been prepared. There will also be changes in the office. I also anticipate a different emphasis on certain areas of our foreign and domestic policy.
Well, at least 51 people were killed and 271 injured when Russia hit a military institute in Ukraine's central town of Poltava with 2 ballistic missiles on Tuesday, the conflict's deadliest single attack this year. Poltava Regional Governor Philip Pronin said 15 people may still be under the rubble and military personnel had also been killed in the attack. Ukrainian President Zelensky repeated calls for more Western air defenses and urged allies to allow their long-range weapons to be used for strikes deeper into the Russian territory. And as tensions between Israel and Hamas grow, the U.S. has announced criminal charges on the terrorist group on Tuesday. Israel's ally, U.S., announced the charges against Hamas's top leaders over their roles in planning, supporting and perpetrating the deadly October 7th attack in southern Israel that killed 1,200 people, including more than 40 Americans. The complaint names 6 defendants, 3 of whom are deceased. The living defendants are Yahya Sinwar, who is believed to be in hiding in Gaza, Khalid Mishal, who is based in Doha and heads the group's diaspora office, and Ali Baraka, a senior Hamas official based in Lebanon. Whereas the deceased defendants are former Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, who the group says was assassinated in July, Tehran, military wing chief Mohammed Deif, who Israel says it killed in a July airstrike, and Marwan Issa, a deputy military commander who Israel said it killed in a March strike. Also, U.S. prosecutors brought charges against the 6 men in February and kept the complaint under seal, but decided to go public with the charges after Haniyeh's death. Meanwhile, protests continue on the 3rd consecutive night in Tel Aviv, demanding ceasefire that would include a deal to return Hamas hostages. The protests, sparked by the recovery of 6 bodies of captives in Gaza over the weekend, also witnessed a general strike by Israel's largest trade union on Monday. Authorities earlier informed that all 6 hostages were killed within 48 to 72 hours before their recovery. And in Nigeria's northeastern Yobe state, at least 81 people have died and several are missing after an attack by suspected Boko Haram Islamists. Residents said the death toll could be even higher, with villagers still missing and feared dead after fighters chased them into the bush. The attack took place on Sunday afternoon in Yobe, one of 3 states at the front line in an insurgency that has lasted 15 years. Thousands of Nigerians have been killed and more than 2 million displaced. Yobe police spokesperson said the attack in Yobe's Mafa village was apparent retaliation for the killing of 2 suspected Boko Haram fighters by local vigilance. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. A federal judge ordered the campaign of former United States President and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump to stop playing music created by Isaac Hayes. Following the ruling on Tuesday, Isaac Hayes III, son of late American musician Isaac Hayes, said he knows his father would not want Donald Trump playing his music. U.S. Department of Justice has summoned NVIDIA seeking evidence that the chipmaker violated antitrust laws. This is being seen as an escalation of its investigation into the dominant provider of AI processors. The regulator had previously delivered questionnaires to companies and is now sending legally binding requests. And just days after, Brazilian data protection authorities suspended a ban on Meta's use of personal data to train AI. The social media giant says it will inform Brazilians how it intends to use their personal data to train generative artificial intelligence. Meta's users in Brazil will be able to reject the use of their data by the firm to train generative AI. And in sports, updates now from Paralympics. Well, the Indian para contingent displayed a phenomenal performance on the day 6 at Paris Paralympics, taking India to its best ever medal haul of 20, with 4 days still remaining to the Games. Indian para sprinter Deepti Jivanji bagged the 16th medal for India on the day 6 as she won the bronze medal in the women's 400-meter T20 final. The para athlete finished the race in 55.82 seconds. Para athlete Ajit Singh bagged a silver medal with a personal best throw of 65.62 meters in men's javelin throw F46 final on Tuesday night, while Sundar Singh Gurjar bagged a bronze medal with season best throw of 64.96 in the same category. With the win, India achieved its first double podium finish in athletics at Paralympics. Just a while later on the same day, India achieved its second podium finish in athletics at Paris Paralympics. In men's high jump T63 final, Sharad Kumar secured a silver medal with the best jump of 1.88 meters, setting a new Paralympic record in T42 category. Mariyappan Thangevelu bagged a bronze medal with the best jump of 1.85 meters. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a telephonic conversation with Paralympic Games medal winners Yogesh Kanuthia, Sumit Antal, Sheetal Devi and Rakesh Kumar on Tuesday. PM Modi was on a two-day tour. While he spoke to the medal winners, he congratulated them on their victory, lauding the remarkable feat they have achieved at the Paris Paralympics. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.